Alright YouTube, so in this video I'm going to show you how to remove an ATV tire from the rim, and I'm also going to show you how to repair or fix a leaky bead seal. So stay tuned. Alright, so the first thing you got to do is you got to take the tire off of the hub. Take your lug nuts off. I already did this to make it go quicker. Alright, so once you have all four of your lug nuts off, you're going to set them aside in a place that you won't lose them. And if you have a center hubcap like this, you also want to set that aside. Okay, so now that you have your tire off of the four-wheeler, you're going to have to break the bead somehow. Now if you have a bead breaker like this, that works the best. Or if you have an actual tire machine, you probably won't be watching this video. But if you don't have one of these, you can get creative. You can take a block of wood, put it on there and drive on it with a truck or something heavy like that. But this is the best way that I've found without having a tire machine. So what you gotta do is you gotta get that right there. You gotta get that in the tire just like that. Then you're gonna take your hand, press down. Alright, so now that I got the bead broken on both sides of the rim, now what I like to do is set the tire down on a clean floor, or a cleanish floor. And now I'm ready to start prying the tire off of the rim. The tools I like to do so with are old crappy junky big screwdrivers. Screwdrivers that you don't really want to use on important screws because they might be worn out or the tips might be broke or something like that. But they got to be pretty substantial. So I found these two screwdrivers and they work perfect. Now you also could get fancy tire spoons or something like that, but why spend the money when you can use old junk screwdrivers? Alright, so on most tires only come off one side of the rim. And on this front tire of this Honda, it happens to come off on the side with the valve stem is. Now some tires are different, but this tire happens to come off on this side. So if you try to do this the other way, it'll be very difficult and you'll find that you won't be able to get it off. Alright, so now I'm ready to take the tire off of the rim. So what I usually do is I'll take my bigger screwdriver, stick it in here just like that, and push. You're just going to start taking little bites, about 6 to 8 inches apart. Sometimes this is a little difficult. You just work your way around it. You just gotta work your way around it. And now one more bite with the screwdriver, and there you go. Now you're halfway off the rim. Okay, so the next tool you're going to need is you're going to need a pretty good sized hammer. Any kind of hammer will do as long as it's heavy enough. So I'll first set the rim up just like this. Take my bigger screwdriver and pry it like that. Now you're going to take your hammer, not hit the bead, or don't hit the rim, but you're going to hit the tire right here. Hit it on one side and then hit it on the other. Your rim pops right out. Alright, now you're ready to clean the rim up if your bead is leaking. If your bead isn't leaking, it's still a good idea to do this. So there's a few tools that you can use. You can either use just a good old-fashioned wire brush and start wire brushing it. I like using this sometimes. This is a die grinder with a Scotch-Brite pad on the end. That works good. But most of the time I just go to the old Milwaukee 4-inch grinder with a stiff wire wheel on it. And I'll just take this and I'll run it all along the bead, or where the bead sits, and that cleans all the rust and all the old piece of tire and all the dirt. That cleans it all right off. Now the next thing you're going to do, or the next thing I at least like to do, is I like to take a good high quality primer. This Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer works awesome. And you just start spraying it. Put a nice heavy coat on, and it should look like this. That should seal the tire to the bead better, and you'll have less chance of having little divots and stuff where the air can leak out. While you have the tire off, you want to inspect the rim to see if there's any major rust spots as well. Because if you have a big rust spot in here, it's more likely to start leaking air. Now this rim's clean, or pretty clean, but if you have a rust spot, a big rust spot, I'd recommend getting a new rim. Now after you let the paint dry, you're ready to put the tire back on the rim. So I'll show you how I do that. You're going to set the rim on the ground, and the tire's got to go on the same way you took it off. So I like to mark it with a paint marker or something. I don't know if you can see them red marks, but, and like I said earlier, the tire only comes off and goes on one way, and that's the side, it'll go on the side with the valve stem. So you're going to set the tire on here. I like to kneel on it. You're going to make sure this upper lip of the tire doesn't go below the rim. Now you're just going to start taking your screwdrivers, start prying like that. Sometimes I like to put my foot on the rim itself. It might work better if you have soap, but for me, just like that works fine. You're going to want to wipe the bead off on the tire itself. Get any big debris off of it, which I already did. Now you're just going to want to kind of get as much onto the rim as you can. Do the same thing over again. Start taking little bites with your screwdriver. Just start prying it over. Just like that. Now your tire's on the rim. Alright, so now once you got the tire back on the rim, the next step could be the hardest step of this whole process, and that's setting the bead. So now here's one method that I like to use, practically the only method that I do use. This is taking a ratchet strap, running it all the way around the tire, and then you cinch it down a few clicks, just enough so that you see the tire will expand to the outside of the rim, and that'll help seal it up better so you can get air in there. Now there's other methods that I don't really like using, particularly the ones that involve using fire. They are pretty dangerous. This is the safest, and easiest way that I've found. So do it this way. Now when you go to put air in the tire, it should start filling right up. Might need a few more clicks. There you go. Now quickly, while you got air in there, you want to take the ratchet strap off, just like that, and keep filling it. Now the beads are about to set. They're about to pop. So there you go, that worked out really good. You take your ratchet strap off, and then you're going to take soapy water and put soapy water all around the bead, and that'll tell you if you have any air leaks around it and if you have to do all this again. But in my case, I checked it a little while ago. I already know it's good. So yeah, now you just got to put the tire back onto the hub. This is probably the easiest part of everything. It's the easiest part, and I forgot to do one thing. Take your center cap, put that in there. There you go. Gonna put lug nuts on. Never run these down with an impact first. You always hand screw them on. Then you can run them down with an impact. Get your wheel all centered on the hub. Take your impact or whatever you're using and run them on. There you go. Easy as that. Alright YouTube, so that's how you remove an ATV tire, and that's how you fix if you have a leaky bead, and that's how you put the tire back on. So I hope this helped you. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please like it. If you didn't, oh well. But I hope you learned something from this. So thanks for watching, and have a good night.